2025 is already starting off with a bang, with a bunch of leaked Nintendo Switch information from the whole motherboard, it seems, to various different specifications with the system. But I do think that one thing that I want to focus in on is exactly how are these leaked specs, exactly how is this system going to translate to the games, and what is it going to do for your favorite titles on Nintendo Switch's successor. So today I wanted to talk about Monolith Soft and how these leaked specs that we know of so far are going to be huge for Monolith Soft and exactly what they're going to take advantage of. But before we get into all that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Let's go ahead and jump right into it because this is something that I haven't really talked about in my regular videos. If you come to my live streams, we've discussed specifications of RAM and what type of system it is, because those are more open and fluid discussions that we can kind of get input and look up stuff and discuss things as a whole. In my videos, I like to kind of stay away from that, but I do think now that the motherboard is leaked, now that we have some other information, and now that we're inching closer and closer to the reveal of the system, a lot of the stuff that's been happening is probably more accurate than inaccurate or clout chasing overall. So you're going to see a number of big things leak and be talked about before Nintendo reveals this system, because I think that we're just counting down pretty much the days now until Nintendo has more information for us. But let's talk about the specifications that have been leaked so far, and then we'll get into exactly how Monolith Soft, one of Nintendo's best development studios, will be taking advantage of this. So far when it comes to the chipset, or at least what it's going to be based off of from NVIDIA, that is the T239. It is a very capable chipset that NVIDIA has done, and if you want more information on that, Digital Foundry has put up some fantastic videos giving you a baseline idea of what you should be expecting overall. Now, another major thing here, and probably one of the biggest things outside of something else that we're going to talk about, is the, so far, once again, this is rumored leaked specs, 12 gigabytes of RAM. This was based off of some shipment logs when it comes to potential Nintendo will be using. But even if it's not 12, probably 10 gigabytes plus, that is a massive boost over what we got with the Nintendo Switch's 4 gigabytes of RAM. So that's definitely a huge thing here that looks to be leaked for the Nintendo Switch 2. And recently we talked about the DLSS. Now this is something that we've known about for quite some time. We know that NVIDIA has been pretty much at the forefront of DLSS and AI upscaling overall. It works pretty good on PC, and it looks like it's going to be a centerpiece of one of the things that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be doing, because it was revealed recently that Nintendo had a patent about 2 years ago that shows some form of this super sampling DLSS that can take a 1080p image and upscale it all the way up to 4K and actually have some pretty cool stuff overall. So one of the huge weaknesses of Nintendo Switch could be remedied quite a bit. Now, I don't expect it to be perfect with every single game, but I do feel that there is a lot that can be taken care of when you have proper DLSS implementation and developers that know how to use it with a graphics and chipset like NVIDIA. I think that things can work out incredibly well for what Nintendo's going to plan there. Now, let's talk about Monolith Soft and why I'm honing in on them. Yes, the Legend of Zelda team, they're going to be able to take incredible advantage of this next system. This is the most capable system they've ever had. Legend of Zelda games definitely can use the extra horsepower, and that's a video for another day. The Mario team, for example, they can take advantage of it. Pretty much every team can, but I think that out of all of the teams that Nintendo has, Monolith Soft is the team that's going to take most advantage of this system. And let me give you guys a number of reasons why I think that's the case. When you make large scale, huge games with big open worlds and a lot of moving pieces, you're definitely going to need more of that RAM. You're going to need more of those system resources in order to do what you want to do. When you have developers that are as talented as Monolith Soft when it comes to landscaping, when it comes to huge vistas and worlds, they can make more use of that RAM. They can make more use of that updated specs than pretty much anybody else at Nintendo outside of maybe like the Zelda team, which they are also a part of. They also helped make the Legend of Zelda games. They've been doing it since the Wii era, and I think they even helped out with some of the portable games as well, Link Between Worlds. So they've been helping out quite a bit. But I think that you combine the 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is triple the amount that the Nintendo Switch 1 had, and you combine that with the DLSS potential 4K upscaling, where you can take that 1080p image and make it look like a 4K image, or maybe you take something like 1440p, you can have it look like that. that is going to be a massive boost to what Monolith Soft does, because as great as Monolith Soft is, what is the major knock with Monolith Soft titles? With resource-strapped systems that they've had before in the past, with the Wii, with the Wii U, with the Nintendo Switch to a degree, they've had to move mountains in order to get things running the way that they want to, and they haven't always had the best results. We saw what happened with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which there was many issues with that game, and honestly, it probably shouldn't have launched in 2017, probably should have launched sometime in 2018 to really fix up and get a few things done. They were able to get some patches out, but I think that you're looking at the image quality overall, especially in portable mode, that was definitely not great. Still an incredible game, but not the best overall. Docked 720p, there was some dynamicness to it. I mean, it was okay, but you're definitely looking for more overall. They had memory leak issues, so I think that if you have that 12 gigabytes of RAM, you have that DLSS upscaling, you can remedy so many problems in addition to having the overhead to make the game look better as well. So these are the things that Monolith Soft is going to absolutely take advantage of when they go to put their engines on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, if you look at it too as well, let's check out what Monolith Soft has done, even with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, as pretty much I think that's where they truly mastered the Nintendo Switch hardware. Xenoblade Chronicles engine, it is ported over from the Wii U when they built that engine ground up pretty much from the Wii U, and they ported it over to Nintendo Switch with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They kept on working on it with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna. They made some updates, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that's really where I thought they perfected it, but they had to do some really tricky things in order to get that game running at an acceptable frame rate and even an acceptable image quality, which it's still low overall, but they have a built-in native upscaler in there. That's not, I don't think, the FSR or anything else, but just something that they made to help with the image quality, not only in portable mode, but also how it looks on the TV. And it gets really, I would say, stressed at times, especially when you're doing a bunch of attacks and you have all 7 characters on screen and they're doing special moves and you're seeing a bunch of special effects flying all over the place. It gets pretty blurry overall, and you can tell in those instances the big upscaling that so far that seems to be leaked here, and I would just say not even really leaked overall, but just it seems to be known that they're going to be using a really good native 4K upscaler when it comes to the system itself built into the chipset, along with that 12 gigabytes of RAM is going to give Monolith Soft so much overhead, so much room to make sure that that type of stuff will not happen, and they don't have to spend as much time, and they haven't talked about it too much, but the time that they had to take to make sure that Xenoblade Chronicles looked respectable, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 looked respectable, and that upscale that they built into it so they didn't have the same issues, because they took the feedback from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 very seriously. Man, I think that that is going to be a blessing for them moving forward. And you also have to look at this, guys. Monolith Soft usually has one of the best grasps of Nintendo hardware from the beginning. You date back to the Wii U. They have used the Nintendo Directs. They've used the Wii U presentations. They've used all sorts of things in order to show off what they can do. Heck, even if you go back to the Wii, when Nintendo purchased them originally, they were brought in for one thing and pretty much one thing only. They were brought in to be the Final Fantasy, the RPG studio, to bring something to the scale of a great RPG to Nintendo platforms. And even before they were with Nintendo officially, that's one of the things that they wanted to take advantage of, making a great RPG for Nintendo GameCube with Baten Kaitos. So they've always been that studio that Nintendo has looked to create something when it comes to big RPG scope and scale, and they've gotten better and better at it. But overall, even with the Wii, they built something on that system that no other developer was able to do. Not even Nintendo's own developers were able to build something like that. When it comes to what they did with the Wii, that was by far, in my opinion, the most impressive game on the platform. So you look at the Wii and how they showed off Xenoblade a number of years before it came out, and that really pushed the Wii hardware. You look at the Wii U and Xenoblade Chronicles X, and when they showed that in 2013, there was nothing else like it on the system, and that game is still one of one when it comes to Wii U titles and what it did. There's no other game on the system that's even close, in my opinion, when it comes to technology and pushing things maybe outside of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which once again, they also worked on that. Then you look at Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and what that game did, still one of the best looking art design combined with maximizing the specs and the knowledge that you have at the time being a launch year Nintendo Switch game. And then of course Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which takes everything that they've learned so far, developing for so many years on Nintendo hardware, putting it all together and actually having it be respectable when it comes to image quality and when it comes to the performance of the game. Their best so far, outside of what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. I think that was very impressive. But when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, there was definitely issues, and they were able to really patch up all of that and get something in there that's very respectable and make an incredible game, being a Game of the Year nominee back in 2022. And of course, you guys all know we have Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition that's coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and that game is looking really good as well. You've got the redone faces, you've got the enhanced fidelity. You can just tell by looking at the trailer, it is going to be better than what we saw. So they're even squeezing a little bit more out of the Nintendo Switch, despite Xenoblade Chronicles X probably still being, if you were to just take it wholesale and port it over to the Nintendo Switch, it'd probably still be one of the top 5 best looking games on the platform. But that's Monolith Soft for you, taking it and even bumping it up more, using that bit extra that the Nintendo Switch has to make a better experience. So I'm absolutely looking forward to that game coming out March 20th of 2025. But right now we're looking at what the Switch 2, the leaked specs so far are showing, and what the patent that shows that Nintendo is absolutely going to be using a really powerful AI upscaler with DLSS and an NVIDIA chipset that is built for doing stuff just like that. And with a lot more RAM overall, this bodes really well for Monolith Soft going forward in the future. Now, I do want to take a little bit of time to talk about what Monolith Soft is going to do next, if you've missed some of my videos on it, or if you're new to the channel. So people have talked about a new IP for Monolith Soft, and that could be happening. They could be doing something completely new, but a lot of the core Xenoblade fans, the theorists out there, and the people that analyze things a lot, they feel that it's going to be the next Xenoblade game. I am kind of in the boat that it will be a Xeno something game. I think that if you've played Future Redeemed, you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you've played those titles, they definitely want to go back to the Xeno universe at some point. Now, will it be the next game in the future? Maybe. Will it be this upcoming game? Maybe not. We just don't know what's going on with them. I would love to see something brand new. If they can do a completely brand new concept and idea, I'd be very welcome to that. But I do think that it's very possible that we do get that new concept and idea in the same form or same way that Xenosaga is to Xenoblade, where there's definitely some connections. If you've played the games and you've played the DLC, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. No spoilers here, but I do think that it could be like that. Xenosaga, turn-based RPG. Xenoblade, obviously action RPG, very different battle systems, but some things that are similar across the series. So we could see the next Xeno something else, and that could be the continuation of the Xenoblade series or the Xeno series for Monolith Soft. I think that if you look at their hiring practices that they talked about, that they're doing something different, which they already said that, hey, we're hiring for a different type of RPG. I think they're going to leverage what they've got here with the leaked specs of the Nintendo Switch 2, with that DLSS, with that 12 gigabytes of RAM, the T239 chipset, and they're really going to take what they're doing to the next level, but do it as efficiently and as good as possible, that Monolith Soft style and flair. So to me, there's everything that's looking up for Monolith Soft and what's next for them overall as a studio and that next game. I'm just excited to see what they can do, because Monolith Soft will always build something incredible, and a lot of their games, you just can't really play anything else like it. If you say, what's it like playing Xenoblade, you'll get people giving you different types of answers, from, oh, it's kind of like an MMO, or a little bit of maybe Final Fantasy 12, or certain type of games like that. I fully expect them to continue it in some type of way. I fully expect them to create something really cool and different, but at the same time leverage everything that I talked about here in order to create an experience that's really going to be, I would say, mind-blowing when we first see it. Then I want to make sure that I'm saying here, it's not a guarantee that Monolith Soft will show off their next game sometime this year or Nintendo's first presentation or two. I'm just going off of the history and how usually they're early to show what they're going to do the past couple of generations. So I do think that Nintendo could use them with this extra boost when it comes to the specs here. They could use them to say, hey, look, we might not have as much power or what other developers do, but what we lack in that, we've got world-class developers like Monolith Soft making incredible games on the platform. But ever since Xenoblade Chronicles really took the world by storm, the RPG scene, what they were able to create on the Wii, we've all been locked in on what Monolith Soft can do. And with what we know right now and how Monolith Soft likes to be the people to help show what the next new system that Nintendo is doing can actually pull off, I fully expect there to be something incredible here. And even if you look at it, they didn't make this game, but they still used the game to show off hardware and what it can do with the new Nintendo 3DS. That doesn't have a lot of exclusives on it, but one of the exclusives that are on there, Xenoblade Chronicles, a game that obviously couldn't run on a regular Nintendo 3DS, and they had to squeeze every inch of power in order for that game to actually run on that platform, which is crazy. There's no other game on the Nintendo 3DS that's even close, scope and scale wise, to Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a Wii game overall. So Monolith Soft has been doing it for a while now when it comes to their games, and I fully expect it to happen here. But what do you guys think when it comes to the leaked specs of the Nintendo Switch 2 and how Monolith Soft could be taking full advantage of it when we see their game? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.